So we know that when we talk about the book of Galatians, it was an early book and written sometime around the time that the book of James was written, kind of two rough books. But Galatians is a book that's, well, we call it the battle cry of the Reformation, because this book separates grace from works. This is the book that I believe is a foundational book for everybody to know. Everybody should learn the book of Galatians. And also that it's what we call the great charter of religious freedom, because he tells us in his word, stand fast therefore in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free. Because there's always somebody wanting to teach the Bible in such a way to put you back into bondage. And so some of the things that will be dealt with is going to be concerning legalism, antinomian, Galatianism. But you see, legalism means you're saved by your works and rituals and ceremonies. There were a lot of people that were Jewish trying to keep the law in order to attain righteousness in order to go to heaven, which will not and never works. So there's those who are very strict on the law and they try to hold you under a bunch of rules. And so there's people who even get out their magnifying glass and begin to examine your life and see whether or not are you passing the test. They can tell whether you're a real, genuine Christian by, are you following the rules? Are you doing all the things that you're supposed to do? And if you're not, that's a sign you're not saved. So antinomian comes along and it's no law at all. Just do whatever you want to do, because we're all living by grace. So to them, living by grace means you don't have to do anything if you don't want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Live any way you please, no consequences. So when somebody says you trying to give people a license to sin, what they mean is they're trying to give you freedom to live without consequences. And we don't believe that. We believe you have freedom to choose to serve the Lord to whatever degree you want, but understanding that there's consequences to our decisions. And so keep that in mind. But anyway, the churches was started by Paul on his first missionary journey. And in the book of Galatians, though you'll find him in a lot of his other books, there's no praise here and there's no honor and no, congratulations about how great you are and what great job you're doing. It doesn't start off that way. It's a little of a rebuke, because these are people that Paul had led to Christ, and now they had been influenced by some legalistic Judaizers who came down from Jerusalem and came into this body of believers, which Galatia is a place today would be called Turkey, or Lystra and Iconium and Antioch and some of these places, and Derbe. That's where these towns were located and these churches were located. So something that you could write down if you got a blank piece of paper, maybe on the backside or something, that would be good to write down. And that would be, number one, it was written to expose false teaching and also to defend Paul's apostleship and salvation by faith alone. That is not a mixture of law and grace or works and grace. So we'll be looking at some of that. But the book of Galatians also, though it defends those things and the teaching, it also kind of teaches us how to live. So we have these 6 chapters in the book of Galatians. It's 2 chapters. They kind of break it down into 3 different parts. You see, the first 2 chapters is personal, and the second 2 chapters, 3 and 4, is more doctrinal. And then chapter 5 and 6 is practical, because you've got to, personally understand who you are and what Christ has done for you, and you trust the Lord. And you got to learn doctrine in order that you might grow. But to grow means you've got to apply it in your life. So the book of Galatians is tremendous for getting an unsaved person to hear and understand the gospel, and then to be established, and then to grow to share their faith with others. So I put down a few things that I thought would be good. And that is in chapter 1,